Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Chimere Nicole, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and it is how to radiate feminine energy. And because I've learned over the years how to tap into my own feminine energy, I hope that these tips are going to be helpful for you to learn how to radiate feminine energy from the inside out, and also to understand the feminine essence. So let's jump into today's tips. So we're going to jump into today's tips, and I'm going to leave my favorite tip for the end. So tip number one is essentially to find your aesthetic. Now, I know a lot of times when people talk about feminine energy, they're always talking about how to look more feminine, and that's in their appearance, like the clothes and the different types of colors. A lot of times people think feminine energy always means you got to wear pink for everything. Now, although I like pink, I don't think that you have to drip down in everything pink in order to feel and look feminine. I just feel that finding your aesthetic is to be true to yourself. If you don't like pink, don't wear pink. Personally, my favorite color is purple. So it's really about finding what is best for you. One of the things that I've learned about femininity is really about being able to express yourself in whatever way that is authentic to you. So again, if you believe that, wearing pink is a way for you to express yourself in your own personal femininity and style, then that is perfect. But I truly believe that femininity is about placing your best foot forward in an alluring way. So one of the things that I've realized is that a lot of times when people think about femininity, they think about sexy, they think about how to be alluring to the male gaze. Now, that is a part of femininity, because femininity always is going to attract masculinity, which essentially is attached to males' masculinity. But when I think about the aesthetic of femininity, is not overtly sexy. It's not about showing a lot of skin. It's not about having all of your everything exposed. It's really about being able to draw the male gaze by radiating that inner glow, that inner peace, that inner seductress. It's about being able to radiate that feminine essence, that feminine energy that only can be from within. It's not the aesthetic, it's not the outward appearance. It's about that inner peace, that inner glow that a feminine woman possesses, that is alluring not only to males but to females as well, because femininity is a really attractive trait. If you ever come in contact with a really feminine woman, you just notice that there's something different about her. Maybe you want to sit next to her, maybe you want to talk to her, maybe you want to be like her, you want to look like her. It's something that attracts you to her. And I believe that that is a power, is a superpower that women possess innately. We're born with it, but because of the things that have happened in our lives, we're not always able to tap into it. The power of feminine energy is being able to radiate an essence and an allure that is from the inside out. So when we talk about finding your aesthetic, I don't want you to think that being feminine means that you have to show more skin, or that you have to be overly sexual, that you have to have, your boobs out, you have to have all this leg showing so that you are alluring to the male gaze. And even on the flip side of that, being feminine also does not mean that you have to cover up and not have nothing showing all the way up to your neck. Femininity actually means, again, to tap into the essence of a woman, that thing that radiates from the inside out. And when you're finding your aesthetic as a feminine woman, whatever your true identity is as a feminine woman, your aesthetic should match. One of the things that I've learned on my feminine journey is that the more I tapped into my feminine energy, the more peaceful I became. And it's really, it's a really great place to be in. So my tip is to find your inner peace. When you are a peaceful person, truly at your core, it radiates through. And even people in my circle have noticed that my aura has changed. They feel differently around me now because I'm at peace, and I radiate that peace and that joy and that true inner happiness. It radiates from my pores, and people can feel it. And when people are in your presence, they see it. And so it really just radiates through. And so I really think that if you're trying to radiate feminine energy, you have to find your inner peace. And you can do that by finding hobbies that speak to you, finding things that feed into you, reading more books, journaling more, meditating, tapping into prayer. I pray every single day, and it brings me so much peace into my life. And so when you're on this femininity journey, you have to find that thing that's going to give you inner peace, that's going to give you joy. And that peace that you find is going to help you to tap into your feminine energy, but it's also going to help you stay in your feminine energy. Tip number 3 is understanding that femininity is not a trend. It is a lifestyle. It seems overwhelming. I would even speak for myself on my femininity journey, because I walked in my masculine energy for so long, 20 plus years easily. It may even be more if I'm honest with myself. And when I really learned about femininity and the feminine energy that I possess, and I started to tap into it, I realized that it's not something that you can just kind of turn off and turn on. It's something that I had to make a lifestyle. And so I started to be really intentional about the things that I would do throughout my day. And so I want to talk about some of the benefits of making femininity a lifestyle. So the first is I realized that the more feminine that I became, the more help I started to receive. Now, I was under the impression that I didn't need help because I was always walking in my masculine energy. And I was like, I can do it myself. I don't need nobody. And so the more I was in my feminine energy, the more people were willing to help me. And a part of being in my feminine energy was allowing people to help me. Although I had people to help me before, I wouldn't allow them to help me because I thought that I could do it myself. And although I was right, I was able to do it myself, I realized that a part of being feminine was to receive. Women are made to receive. And so if I wanted to stay in my feminine energy, I had to be open to receiving, and which that was hard for me. And I know that it may be hard for some of you as well, but I had to realize that the more feminine I became, the more resources I had at my disposal, and the more I was able to receive. I also realized that I was treated better by the males in my life, whether it was males that I encountered even at the grocery store, the males that are also in my life. They treated me better when I became a softer version of myself. When I tapped into my feminine energy, they just treated me better. And it wasn't like I was, I just completely changed who I was. It was the way that I communicated with them. The way that feminine energy is received by masculine energy, it is only to be described as God ordained, the way that God designed it, and it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. But as I said, the more feminine I became, the better I was treated by the masculine men in my life. Femininity has also allowed me to set boundaries as well as expectations. And this was something that I really didn't think about when I was learning to become more feminine and as I started my femininity journey. But you're going to learn that you have to set boundaries not only with yourself, but you have to set those boundaries with others. And as a result of those boundaries, you now have different expectations for people. The expectation now is for them to treat you a certain way. And because of the boundaries that you've set in place, if they don't treat you the way that you want to be treated, then you know that this is not someone that you want into your life. Also, when I made femininity a lifestyle change, I noticed that my self-care and my self-love improved tenfold. I'm able to take care of myself a lot better, and I prioritized my self-care because it became so much more important to me. And as a result, it allowed me to increase my self-love, because the more you care for yourself, the more you start to fall in love with yourself. Also, femininity as a lifestyle has improved my life. I have a better quality of life because of all of the things that I discussed with you previously, and also because I have made it a lifestyle. So this is not something that changes from day to day. So I just wake up with the expectation that I'm going to have a good day. I wake up with the expectation that I have done the work to present the best version of myself possible. And so as a result of that, I just have a better quality of life. My days are better. They're a lot lighter. I don't stress about a lot of things anymore because I have those boundaries and expectations in place. I don't want you to view femininity as just a way of attracting the male gaze. As I said before, I really want you to think about femininity as a commitment to yourself, a commitment to a better quality of life, a commitment to self-love, a commitment to being the best version of you. So that's going to lead me into tip number 4. And again, as I said, femininity is a lifestyle. But tip number 4 is making sure that femininity is a daily practice. In order for this to be a lifestyle change, you have to be intentional. What do I mean by that? That means that when you wake up in the morning, you have to have daily practices on how to tap in to your feminine energy until it becomes second nature. And depending upon where you're starting in your femininity journey, I started from the bottom. So I had to make this a daily practice. And I started off by doing some really simple things. They started to become second nature. And I just started to build upon those things every single day. One of the daily practices that I incorporated in my life was I would start to wake up 30 minutes earlier, and I would solely dedicate that time to myself. I am a mother of 2. I am also a small business owner. A lot of my day is focused on making sure that the children are okay, making sure that my business is running smoothly, making sure that I'm attending to other people. And in the mix of all of that, it's really hard to find time for yourself. And if you're a mom, you understand what I'm talking about. So I had to be intentional about my self-care and really spending time with myself and making sure that I am working from a place of inner peace and inner joy. And in order for me to do that, I had to spend time with myself. So I got intentional. I would wake up 30 minutes in the morning, and that was my time to do my journaling. That was my time to pray. That was my time to enjoy my cup of coffee or my cup of tea without any distractions, focusing solely on me and the things that gave me joy. And that was a perfect way for me to not only start my day, but also for me to get in touch with that inner child, to get in touch with that inner peace, and to understand what it felt like to just take care of myself without any distractions. And for me, that helped me to tap into my softer side. And so when I started to incorporate this, I noticed that my children also noticed it as well, because typically, so prior to this, I would go to bed late, I would wake up grouchy, and that would start the tone for my day. And then I would notice that the kids would either be late for school or they would be on their phones in the morning, and then I would be yelling, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and the kids already got yelled at, the dog then peed on the floor, and I just was in such a negative space. And because I was in a negative space, I noticed that I was tapping into my masculine energy, and that is not how I wanted to start off my day. And I knew that I had to change that. I took those 30 minutes each morning to really tap into my softer side, really to feed into myself, pray, meditate, and journal, and just to practice gratitude. And that helped me to tap into my feminine energy, and that helped me to be intentional about staying in that energy, staying in that soft space throughout my day. And we've reached tip number 5, and I believe that this is one of the most important things that you are going to learn on your femininity journey. And this was something that my grandmother used to always say: it's not what you say, it is how you say it. And that doesn't mean the verbiage of what you say or how you say it. It means the tone of what you say. I realized that I would either be talking to possibly someone on my team at work, I would be talking to either my children or even friends, and I would say certain things and it would not be what it was that I said. It was the tone in which I said it. And because I was operating for so long in my masculine energy, the tone that I would say certain things would come off really harsh and really aggressive. And I could actually be saying something that's positive, but because of me being in my masculine energy, it would come off so aggressive that people weren't able to receive what it was that I was saying. Even if it was something that was positive, people are not able to receive it because the tone in which we say it. And so I think one of the things about being in our feminine energy is always recognizing how we speak to people, how we communicate with people. And remember, all communication is not verbal. The way we communicate with people, if we're talking to people and we're doing this, if we're talking to people and we're doing all of this, if we're talking to people and we have our hands crossed, or we're talking to people and we're not using eye contact, if we're talking to people and we're not smiling, I've just thought about this, but let's just think about this. I'm going to think of a phrase, and I'm going to use my body gestures and even my face to relay the message in 2 different ways. I love your hair. I love your hair. Both, I said the same exact thing, but the tone in which I said it and the mannerisms in which I conveyed that message were two completely different ways. The first one, I was definitely in my masculine energy, and the second one, I was operating in my feminine energy. And if you didn't notice that you received those type of messages, one message is not going to be received well because I was in my masculine energy. The other one is going to be received very well. Now remember, I said the same exact thing, but it was the way I communicated that phrase that made all of the difference. One of the things that I realized on not only my femininity journey, but just on my transformation journey as a whole, is that our words and our actions, they have power. Femininity is a superpower and everybody does not have it. And so I really want us to really understand the power that we possess, and knowing that our words have power, our energy has power, and it speaks life. When I was able to understand the power in my own femininity and the power that my femininity had to impact other people, it really made me to assess how I communicated with other people, because our communication is very important, especially as feminine women. The journey to becoming a feminine woman can seem very daunting. As I said to you guys earlier, my journey started literally from the bottom up. I was a tomboy for a very long time, and so over the last few years I've really put my best foot forward and really tried to be intentional about learning about femininity, but also learning to tap into my feminine energy so that I would be able to transform my life and to become the woman that I wanted to be. And so no matter where you are on your femininity journey, do not be discouraged. All of these things are going to take time. Remember, you have been doing something and you're accustomed to doing something a certain way. But if you tapped onto this video, you now understand that there is power in becoming a feminine woman, and you are learning to tap into that. So you've already made the first step. I have some resources for you available in the video description if you want to learn to tap into your feminine energy and learn to embrace self-love, self-confidence, and to be on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. If you want to check out those resources, you can click the links that I have in the video description and read all about those things. And I will also be uploading more videos about femininity and becoming the best version of yourself here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, because I upload videos every single week. So that's it, guys, for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this video was informative and that the tips that you learned are going to help you on your femininity journey. So until next time, ladies, I will see you guys in the next video.